Good evening. This regular meeting of the Dubuque Community School District Board of Education held on August 12th, 2013 is called to order. Our mission is to develop world-class learners and citizens of character in a safe and inclusive learning community. Ms. Lucas, roll call.
Mr. Barton?
Here.
Mr. Byteen?
Present.
Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Donahue?
Here.
Mr. Kruger?
Present.
Ms. Ryan?
Here.
Mr. Strelo?
Present.
Thank you. We've got the Pledge of Allegiance. We're on our own again, one more month, and then we'll have help.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the agenda as submitted. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Education approve the agenda as submitted. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the minutes of the regular meeting on July 15th, 2013 as submitted. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Education approve the minutes of the regular meeting on July 15, 2013 as submitted. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Would like to extend a welcome to board candidate Tara Siegert, who is with us today. Tammy Deere got nervous when I pointed at her. No, check the eyesight. I'm a little bit to your left. Thank you for joining us. We're glad you're here. Board salutes. I believe Mr. Davis has a board salute.
I do have a board salute, Mr. President. I'd like to salute the Buildings and Grounds Department and our administration on their idea to try portable air conditioners in some of our buildings that are very hot during the year. I think we're going to try to Hoover and Eisenhower, and this idea has been talked about over the years, but evidently with increases in technology and reductions in cost, it's a cost-effective thing that we're going to look at, and this fits in with our strategic plan goal number 5 of effective and efficient resource management. So I'm anxious to see how it works, and perhaps this can be a low-cost way to solve some of the air conditioning needs in many of our older buildings. So,
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Any others?
I move that the Board of Education suspend the rules of order and go into open forum.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Education suspend the rules of order and go into open forum. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Are there any persons in the forum tonight wishing to address the school board? Now would be your opportunity.
I move that the Board of Education reinstate the rules of order and return to regular session.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Education reinstate the rules of order, return to regular session. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve those items listed in the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Education approve those items listed in the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any items that any of the board members would like to have removed for further discussion? Not hearing any. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Facility support. Facility support services, Mr. Byteen.
Mr. President, the Facility Support Committee met about a week ago, and we have several motions for which to bring before the board. The first being the following. Move the Board of Education approve the district's fiscal year 2013 request to the Iowa School Budget Review Committee for allowable growth and supplemental aid for the negative special education balance for the 2012-2013 school year.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Education approve the district's fiscal year 2013 request to the Iowa School Budget Review Committee for allowable growth and supplemental aid for the negative special education balance for the 2012-2013 school year. Any discussion?
Kevin, I know this is an annual thing. Do you want to speak to it?
Correct, Craig. This is an annual request. The special ed supplement is due September 15th, and In past several years, we've always had deficits with that. We have to have a board meeting asking for allowable growth or extra spending authority for that deficit amount. We do not know that yet. It will be determined on September 15th.
Thank you.
Great. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. President, I move the Board of Education authorize the board president to sign the transfer agreement with Heritage Manor.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Education authorize the board president to sign the transfer agreement with Heritage Manor. Any discussion?
Mr. President, this agreement would allow for the transfer of residents from the Heritage Manor in the event of a catastrophe that would put in jeopardy their structure, building, or inhabitants. And so inasmuch as it's ours is a public building and funded with public monies, it seems appropriate to allow for individuals to be moved to our facility in the event that there is an event of that nature, and I stress of a significant nature. It's not a casual transfer, but something that would be the cause of I guess, a catastrophic kind of an issue. So we feel that's a good use of public resources, and therefore support this agreement.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. President, I move the Board of Education approve Straka Johnson Architects, PC, as the architect engineer for the House Computer Labs renovation project at a cost of $44,000 plus reproductions.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Education approve Straka Johnson Architects, PC, as the architect engineer for the House Computer Labs renovation project at a cost of $44,000 plus reproductions. Any discussion?
Just might mention that this investment is over part of the overall technology strategy for the district. That this does not include any external building, but rather the renovations of the spaces where the computer labs are. Do you want to comment on that, Stan, any further?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you remember our technology strategic plan, one of our first priorities is to bring all of our computer labs up to date by putting in more modern technology and increase the number of labs that we have so students could, not only for testing purposes, but for research and other educational activities, have more access to those labs. And then we're going to progress into more of a portable tablet device situation. Well, putting in these labs requires power, and so it's going to be a significant increase in the number of labs that we have, one per house and one per department at the high school. So we're looking at, well, I believe, Kevin, by board policy, we have to have this looked at by an architect, and so it's just part of the long-range plan for technology, and it's going to do great things for our students.
Great. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. President, I move the Board of Education approve the performance and payment bonds for the Jones Campus and Table Mound Elementary School asphalt replacement projects.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Education approve the performance and payment bonds for the Jones Campus and Table Mound Elementary School asphalt replacement projects. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve change order number 1 and number 2 to the Conlon Construction on the Hempstead High School renovation project in the deducted amounts of $433,564.72 and $807.93.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Education approve change orders number 1 and 2 to Conlon Construction on the Hempstead High School renovation project in the deduct amounts of $433,564.72 and $31,807.93. Any discussion?
I would just mention, Mr. President, that from time to time we're asked as a board to approve change orders that are increases in our budget, and it's quite a pleasure to be entertaining one for a deduct. I think it bears taking a moment and having Mr. Burkhardt approach us and just outline for the public where this savings is occurring.
Greg, if I could, while Bill is coming to a microphone, The reason these deducts occur in large part is because we have Bill and Charlie who work in our building and grounds department and oversee all of our construction projects in a very finite way. And so it's he'll give us another reason why the deduct, but the real reason is we got the right people watching as we do these projects.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, board members. Always a pleasure to talk with you about our projects. I always enjoy visiting with you. The credit came from just simply finding another provider for this service. The controls is controls, and we're able to identify another company that is able to provide that material, follow the specifications, and we're going to get what's expected in the specifications. So there's no loss of quality or performance, and we're able to pick up a significant savings by looking into that and looking for another provider. Simply put, 10 years ago, we weren't able to look for another provider of controls. And when I talk about controls, I'm talking about the ability to adjust our heating and cooling equipment as you do in your house. We have 24 buildings that we control, and with events going on the weekends and nights, we adjust it down when we can, and when we raise it back up when the building's in use. So that technology does pay for itself over time, as you can imagine. So we worked with architects and engineers. Charlie and myself looked into it and drilled down real deep, and we're able to find this other provider, and we're here tonight to recommend the acceptance of that. Any other questions?
Thank you, Bill.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve change order 2 to Portson Construction Incorporated on the Kennedy Elementary School addition renovation project in the deduct amount of $8,657.17.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Education approve change order number 2 to Portson Construction, Inc. on the Kennedy Elementary School addition renovation project in the deduct amount of $8,657.17. Any discussion?
Mr. President, in light of the savings at Hempstead, we discerned at the support services that perhaps the Kennedy Group wasn't trying as hard. Nevertheless, we accept and submit this savings. We appreciate that information.
Yeah. For those keeping track at home, that's now $470,000. We've been assured that those can turn in the other direction, but
Yes.
we are happy to receive those deducts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Kennedy's no longer going to have a roof, but that's no big deal. Anything to save a buck.
Move that the Board of Education approve change order number 2 to Portson Construction Incorporated on the Washington Middle School multipurpose room addition in the amount of $24,651.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Education approve change order number 2 to Portson Construction, Inc. on the Washington Middle School multipurpose room addition project in the amount of $24,651. Any discussion? Bill, the only recommendation we have is find a way to make these project names a little shorter. We'll come up with some cute acronyms. So,
When you only had one going on at a time.
it was a lot easier, yeah.
Project.
Yep.
All right.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve change order number 3 to Clower Development Corporation on the Carver Elementary School classroom addition project in the amount of $718.69.
Second.
Moved and seconded that the Board of Education approve change order number 3 to Clower Development Corp. on the Carver Elementary School classroom addition project in the amount of $718.69. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Byteen.
My pleasure.
Mr. Streel, anything on the Educational and Programs Committee?
We had a
Policy Strategy?
pretty good little meeting, and just looking ahead, I think some of the things we discussed are in the new business agenda items. So if you don't mind, maybe we just skip ahead and start nailing those. I move that the Board of Education approve the Memorandum of Understanding with Niacc for their re-engagement success program.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Education approve the Memorandum of Understanding with NICC for the Re-Engagement and Success Program.
Great. Well, we're very excited tonight to have Dr. Wee and members of his board from NICC here to sign a Memorandum of Understanding. As you know, last year with Shirley Horstman and some other folks in the community, a re-engagement center came into being where a full-time person was hired to track students who are dropouts and to attempt to bring them back in either as students working towards a high school diploma or a GED through NICC. That's been a significant success. More than 30 individuals either working towards their high school diploma or their GED. And it's truly a group effort with NICC and the school district and many other partners as well. I kind of want to back up to the consent agenda, and I know not everybody at home sees the consent agenda, but what people don't know is that earlier in the meeting, in a consent agenda, we also passed a construction consortium with NICC, a family consumer science consortium with NICC, a business education consortium with NICC, health occupations consortium, and technology education consortium, all with NICC. So you can see it fits right into our strategic plan. It's a great partnership, one that grows every year. But tonight we're here to talk about the Re-Engagement Center, which has been renamed Re-Engage Dubuque. And we're very excited about it. NICC is committed to this program and is offering a substantial financial commitment to make sure that this program continues, and in fact will double in size from 1 employee to 2. And I believe, Dr. Wee, if you'd like to share a few comments from the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent and President Mike Donahue and members of the board. I think the superintendent is right. It's a commitment. This is an investment in our young people. Education has no compromise. It must happen. And I believe that this partnership between the two entities and also Project Hope and other partners really contributes to the vitality of our community in the long term. It's not just about the student today, but students to come. And just recently, I was reminded of the wisdom of the Iroquois. It's a league of nations and tribes of indigenous people in North America. And their wisdom is that every decision that we make must take the well-being and the welfare of the next 7 generations into consideration. And so I am really pleased that this partnership is not just about today. When all of us are gone, this is the seed, the foundation that we establish for the good of many young people to come. And so, given the success achieved in the first year, I am convinced that Re-Engage Dubuque will have long-lasting positive impact on our students now and in the future. So again, on behalf of NICC, the NICC board, thank you for allowing us to partner. But at the end of the day, it's investing in the young people for the vitality of our community. So thank you so much for working with us for the good of the youth. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wee.
Dr. Wee.
And I would just like to add, Boyd Card and Shirley Hortzman and Eric Dragney and everybody involved. He said a true community partnership, and I think we heard that loud and clear at our committee meeting. And I think for all of the folks that were on the committee, it was very exciting to hear about all the neat programs going on with NICC and in the future that we have to look forward to.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
This time we'll do a signing of that agreement down front here with.
I think the photo would look better with potted plants.
Thanks for the input.
Don't you think? They had some potted plants. You know,
I guess I'm the first guy. There you go. Thank you, Ken.
What'd you do with the pen?
I gave it to Ken. I thought that's the least I could do. It was- All right.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the agreement with the custodian employees as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Education approve the agreement with the custodian employees as presented. Mr. Colpitz?
This is the last 8 contracts, believe it or not.
what are you going to do?
We finished this one up and tentatively agreed back in July, and then I left on vacation. So it was a good thing to have finished. It does represent a total package increase of 3.7%, right in line with everybody else. The wages went up 32 cents an hour for everybody, and another 5 cents an hour. There was a shift differential. It went up 5 cents an hour for those people working second or third shift. The total wage increase represents 1.98% of that total 3.7% increase. And that does also include the new PACA fees for the health insurance plan, and those PACA fees were $23,877. Total people in this group, 80 employees.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Just in time to start again next month.
Yeah.
I move the Board of Education allow student number 807565 to re-enter the Dubuque Community School District.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Education allows student 807565 to re-enter the Dubuque Community School District. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any board member issues to be addressed tonight?
Mr. President, I guess I'd just like to take a moment to recognize some of the people that are here tonight, and we have quite a group. Eric Dregney from the Dubuque Community Foundation and Every Child, Every Promise, and Dr. Wee from NICC. And these are two groups that we have tremendous partnerships in. The partnerships we have with these groups allow us to provide more services than what we could provide on our own, and really help us reach into areas that we have trouble reaching out into, re-engaging our dropouts, summer school for some of our students that we're working with the Audubon program this summer, and a whole host of other areas where we can work with these community partners to help really improve the educational delivery model of our entire community, not just what goes on in schools, but what goes on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So it's really an honor to have Dr. Wee here. We've doing great things with NICC, and Eric with the things with the Community Foundation and Every Child, Every Promise in the city. I mean, I know there's more we can do, but the things we're doing here just in the last 2 or 3 months have been just absolutely fantastic. So thank you for all of your help in making that happen.
Thank you. Any others?
I have a couple. Just to continue what George was saying, we know that their strategic plan that we spent a long time building last year really boils down to how is it actionable at the individual student level. And I just want, Tom Kirshner is here from the Re-Engagements or Re-Engage Dubuque, and really started a program a year ago that had very little structure, and he brought that structure into place, and is in large part why we're here today with NICC and moving forward with the second employee, who I apologize, whose name I don't have, but we're excited to have Temwa, thank you, I remember. So we're very excited with the work that they do, and really that's everything that happens at this level gets down to the point where it's where the rubber meets the road, and I think they've done a tremendous job. Also, as you know, school year is quickly upon us. We have our opening ceremonies on Wednesday morning at 7:30 at the River Center, so obviously everyone from the board and the district is invited. But as you drive by schools, you see hundreds of teachers who don't officially start their contract for another day or two, who have been hard at work for the last couple of weeks trying to get their classrooms ready and be prepared for students. So just really excited to kick off the 13-14 school year. Looks like the weather's going to cooperate, and just going to be a stellar year, moving from a year of planning to a year of implementation. So
It's an exciting time.
it is.
Our upcoming board meeting.
September 16th, so it's a little bit out of our normal pattern. It does fall after a board election, so generally it's two board meetings in one. It's a short board meeting with the current board, and then we'll take a break and swear in and seat the new board and begin to organize subcommittees and those sorts of things at that meeting.
Fantastic. All right. With that, we are adjourned.